Welcome to the Wing Life Podcast, where we talk about wing foiling and the lifestyles of those who enjoy this great sport. Thank you for joining us today. It's cool to finally meet you. We've been chatting a little bit, but yeah, thanks for taking the time.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be on this podcast.
Did you ever think that we would talk wing foiling on a podcast or even have the sport get to where it is today?
Well, when I started wing foiling, I have never thought it would grow that much as it grew now, where we are now. But I really believe this sport is going to grow a lot, and for sure, everything is starting. So it's great to have podcasts about wing foiling as well, because there's a lot of people that are fascinated and addicted to wing foiling, including me.
Yeah, how did you obviously how was your introduction into wind sports? Like, where did you pick up your first kite, or was that the first sport that you did?
Yeah, I started kiting when I was 14 years old. My parents taught me to kite, and then I was kiting during my teenage years during holidays. And then when I was 19, I started traveling alone and competing on the water and placing on podiums. Then when I found sponsors, and then I was living my dream as a professional kiteboarder, traveling around the world, competing on waters. And then back in 2020, when COVID happened, I got luckily stuck in Union Island in the Caribbean, where Jeremy Tronet had a kite school. I was actually in Venezuela just before COVID happened. We had to fly out very fast. So we were looking for islands around, and we found this safe island, Union Island, and in the Grenadines. And I was kiting a lot, but Jeremy had some beginner wing foiling gear, and there was not much to do. We were there for 4 months. I mean, the whole world was stuck. And I learned to wing foil there, and since then I'm wing foiling.
Oh, that's cool. What was your first session like? Had you foiled before on a kite?
Yeah, I was kite foiling before. I learned, I don't know, a few years before on a kite foil, and I was actually practicing a lot of kite foiling in Union Island. And then Jeremy, my friend that has a kite school in Union Island, he was like, "You should try wing foiling." And I'm like, "Yeah, I would like to." So we went out, he gave me first lesson, and we were laughing so much because his instructions were very funny, but I managed to get on the foil very fast. And
nice.
Then I actually, I learned myself on an onshore beach, paddling upwind and trying to stand up downwind. So it was not easy. I didn't have boat board, and I was learning on a massive board, as everyone should learn on a massive board, but it was, it was perfect condition for me, flat water, light wind. And then actually it was like May, June that I learned. And then I didn't wing till fall, till I went to Brazil. And I actually asked my sponsor, Jotone, if I could get some wing foiling equipment. And I chose a 55-liter board, which was very small for me in the beginning, because I went from like 140 or 160 liter to 55 liter, nothing between. Wow. And I was struggling for a few
bold move.
weeks. And I managed it after some days. And then, I was having blast. I was in Brazil competing on a kiteboarding world tour back then. And the same organizers were actually organizing the first wing foiling world tour stop in Fortaleza. And they asked me if I could join. And I was like trying to train to stand up on the board and to turn, because I didn't know how to do that. And I joined the competition. It was only 3 goals. And I actually only could go one way, and I didn't know how to turn. I had to get down and stand up again, but it was fun experience for me because I saw all the wing foilers that were already competing. Tituan was one of them, and he was doing
Hmm.
these big jumps and flips. I'm like, oh my God, how do you jump? Tell me how to jump. I want to jump in my heat. As I got really hooked. And then I went up to Jerry in Brazil, uh, where it's really windy, and I stayed for like 3 or 4 weeks. I extended my stay in Brazil, and I was just wing foiling, and I learned to jump, and I got hooked.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. It's such a different sport, eh, compared to kiting or windsurfing or anything else. Like the level of freedom and the speed that you get. Like, what's your favorite kind of? Because you're based out of Cabarete a lot of the time, or is
Yeah,
that where your home
Cabarete
base is?
Cabarete is my second home. I'm currently visiting my family in Czech Republic. I come very often because
Oh,
I miss my
amazing.
family a lot. But I stay a lot
Yeah.
in Cabarete, Dominican Republic, and I love this place because there is waves always, and that's what I enjoy. That's what I enjoy the most.
Are you're based out of Cabarete? Is that your main spot?
Yeah, so Cabarete, Dominican Republic is my second home. I really love it because it's windy almost all year long. Sometimes we have rain, sometimes we have no wind, but there's many other sports we can do, like surfing, surf foiling, infoiling, and there is so much nature. So always something to do. And I love to wing foil there because there's a reef and there's always waves, at least 1 meter. If there is a swell, there can be 2, 3, 4 meter waves, and sometimes that's too big. But I I love it, especially for wing foiling. For kiteboarding, I love it too. It's a little bit choppy, but for wing foiling, you don't really mind the chop. And I think currently what I enjoy the most in wing foiling is just wave riding and the freedom of foiling above the water and just being out there by myself. It's a little bit different than kiteboarding because when I go kite, I do all these cool tricks and board offs and turns, and it's just like very different. But when I go wing foil, I I enjoy the peace, the peace and the quietness of of the foil, and also that I fly and that I'm very light, and I enjoy very much that it's such a healthy sport because I had a lot of problems when I was kiteboarding and doing freestyle with the hard landings all the time on flat water. My whole body was always in pain and my muscles were sore. And then I started wing foiling and I was like, I don't have any pain anymore. This is awesome. And I'm having so much fun. So my whole body actually became much more healthier because we are using so much core when we are wing foiling and core balance. And when you have a strong core, the whole body becomes complete, and then it's less likely to get injured.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, like I found, well, same thing. I was a big avid windsurfer, and you can't go 4, 5, 6 days in a row without getting your entire back kind of locked up and tight. But foiling in that aspect of things is just something completely different. How was your progression into waves? Like, because you're a content creator as well, like we've gotten to see a little bit of your journey through learning, and you've showcased this to a lot of people, which is amazing. But how did you find the progression into bigger and bigger waves has gone foiling with the new gear, and because it's continuously getting better?
Yes, to be honest, I was always, and I'm still scared of big waves. I have kind of fear from entering big waves with my wing, but I am now wing foiling for almost, it's gonna be 4 years this summer. And during those years, I gained experience and I got so much confident in crossing the waves and in getting in the water when the shore break is huge, and how to actually act in the water when you lose your board, or when you use when you're getting into the washing machine, which is not my favorite part.
Can't
So
imagine.
um yeah, I I enjoy when the waves are clean and nice, and I can just surf for forever and carve as much as I can. But I really enjoy the challenge of entering big waves and challenging myself to actually do it and go out there and not having bad crashes and having such a good session, because I'm getting better and better. And um, you need to be patient to enter waves like the size of the waves by months and years. And also you need to know how to read the waves, which in the beginning I didn't know, because I'm not a surfer. I have never done a sport with waves. I was always a freestyler, so there was a little challenge for me. But yeah, yes, but I liked, and I mean, I love challenges, and I love to go to face my fears, even though sometimes it's tough. It's just something that I've always done in my life, getting out of my comfort zone. And if I'm not getting out of my comfort zone, I'm bored and I'm nervous and I need some adrenaline in my veins.
I think we can all share in common, definitely. How, for people listening in, for example, that are wanting to get more into waves, like shore break, walking it with a foil with like a 90 or 80 centimeter mast, like, are there tips and tricks that you've developed that help you not get caught up in the washing machine, toss back to shore, break your wing, break your foil? Is it all about timing, or is it more so about just being patient about building those skills?
It's definitely being patient about building those skills, but also knowing that um, I always keep my wing super high when I'm entering the water, and I'm trying to jump over the waves with the wing high. My board is quite small, so I can keep it in my hand always. And when the waves stop breaking, I just try to jump on the board as fast as I can and pedal out and get up as soon as I can. Sometimes it's a mission, but also what is very important, there's some waves coming in, some are big, some are small. You need to wait till the set is gone and jump in when the set is not there, and be very fast. And sometimes when it's big waves, I tend to take like a half a size bigger wing than I would normally do, because then I'm sure that I will always get up even with a small board, because sometimes when there is white water or the water is going around, if the foil is not really working as it should be in a clean water. So with having a slightly bigger wing, it's much more easier to get up faster and not get smashed by the next wave.
Yeah. How is the washing machine? I've been fortunate not to get caught up in it yet, but how is that with your board and foil and stuff all kind of wrapped into a lovely package?
So I don't ride with a leash on my board, and I ride with straps. So whenever I crash, my board either stays on my board whenever I crash, my board stays on my feet, and if it doesn't, then it goes away, and then I swim to it. And if I manage to catch it, then I catch it, and then again I have it in my hands on the left-hand side, well, depending where the wind is coming from. But then I always try to keep the wing far away from that. And actually, if I see a big wave coming and I know that it's gonna turn around, I just let the board go and I swim towards the wave with my wing and try to put it up, because I don't want to be in the wave with my foil.
Can imagine.
Together with my foil. And also, when I actually crash in the wave and my board is on my feet, I try to keep the board on my feet the longest possible way, because if it's on my feet, nothing gonna happen. once it gets off, it can go wherever. So I believe riding straps in waves is much more safer than riding without, because having a leash on your board and riding strapless, it might be more stylish, but for me, that's very dangerous. I'm really scared of that.
Okay. No, that's a good point. Now, for people getting into it, for example, are the wipeouts more severe with straps when you're in waves, or is it pretty much the same as riding strapless? Like you can still kick out of them if you need to, or that kind of thing?
Well, if you want to get off your straps, you can always get off. It's not that it's
Okay.
hard to get off. My straps are tight, but I can always get off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's no problem. Where has been the favorite spot so far that you've gotten to travel to for like wind sports around the world?
Well, that's trick questions because I'm doing kiteboarding and wing foiling now as
Everything.
well, e-foiling. It's
Everything.
I believe that the best. I haven't traveled to so many places yet with wing foiling for nice waves. I really want to go to Hawaii. It's my dream with wing foil. I've been there with kite. I was back then kiting with waves a little bit when I was younger. But I've never been there with my wing, and I know that the whole Maui community is wing foiling so much there. So I need to plan a trip there. I also want to go to Peru for these long waves.
Oh yeah, that would
And
be
I
phenomenal.
think the best spot that I've been, I've heard a lot of people that went and that are going, and it's just a dream, I guess. The wave's so long.
Mm-hmm.
But the best place that I've been to when it comes to wing foiling with waves is, I think, Mauritius, because the waves are so clean and they're just perfect. They are easy. Sometimes it gets busy because a lot of people go, but when you go in the month that's not high season, you can have really nice sessions. I hope to get out there very soon. But I'm gonna mention it again. I think my favorite spot in the world is still Cabarete, because
Oh no way. Okay.
it's like the conditions can get so nice, and there's so many places that you can go, different beaches and flat water and waves, and you have everything. So
That's good to
I
know.
will always come back to Cabarete.
Yeah, I haven't been yet, but it's been a spot that's been on our list and starting to like eye it up. But definitely going to keep it in mind. Yeah, definitely going to keep it in mind. How do you find, and this is maybe talking as a bit of an, I guess, a social Instagram kind of an influencer and working with your brands and stuff like that. How have you found wind sports and women? Do you find that more women are getting involved? Do you find it's getting easier to get sponsorships? How do you find that relationship is going since you started, like over the last years?
Well, both of the sports, skateboarding and wing foiling, and as well windsurfing, is manly dominated. I am doing my best to motivate other girls to get out there and try out these sports. Especially with wing foiling, I try to motivate more female, more women, because I believe that it's much more healthier and it's much more it's just healthier, and it's something that it's so peaceful, and then I just believe it's more feminine than kiteboarding, because kiteboarding is a little extreme when you go so high and then you turn around, and when you have the kite 22-meter or 24-meter away, can take you away. Somebody has fear from that, and also somebody has fear from the foil below, but most of the time it doesn't really hit you, and you should wear always helmet. So I always try to motivate women, and I think that there is more and more women coming, but we are not there yet, and I hope that one day it's gonna change. What I think about the sponsorship, there is it's definitely changing. in the beginning of my career, I was one of the only ambassadors or sponsored athletes in my team.
Okay.
And now we have a team of many athletes when it comes to kiteboarding and wing foiling. And I see a lot of young female athletes getting into sports. So that's definitely a plus.
And like you've built up quite a following on Instagram, like almost what, like 384,000 people. Like, how does it feel to have that kind of reach and I guess connection to so many people from around the world?
I enjoy creating content, and all my videos I edit myself. I
Cool.
really do like it. I also like to film and take photos, but most of the times I need to be on the photo and video on my social media. So I work with videographers.
Okay.
But I've been building my social media for many years, and last year after summer I went viral in a lot of videos. I changed my strategy a little bit. I changed my strategy. I started filming very professional videos, and I tried to show the beauty of the sport and kind of show the person that's looking at the videos. Uh, I try to explain it, so I slow down the movies so they can really follow. I didn't really do many difficult tricks because people like to see the simplicity, and people like to see what they could do as well.
Okay.
So when it comes to kiteboarding, I was just filming really basic tricks and rotations and really cool tricks that look fun. And then I started doing more and more, and it was working. When it comes to wing foiling, I think that people love to see the freedom. People say that when they watch me wing foiling, it feels so free. It feels so. It feels like I'm dancing on the water. They really tell me that it feels so beautiful when they watch me. Sometimes I have people watching me for hours on the beach, and coming to me after, "Oh my God, I want to learn this sport. It looks so easy when you do that."
Meanwhile, it's really hard. It takes time.
Yes, it's really hard.
Yeah.
It takes some time, but with the right time and with the right practice, you'll get there as well. Or everyone will.
Oh, that's cool. Do you find that you're able to also put out, because you have a bit of a following or a big audience and a big following, do you find it helps you steer and navigate conversations or steer and navigate potential causes that you believe in? How do you find that your influence is in that area to help maybe change or bring forth change in your community and that kind of thing?
Well, I haven't really used my following that much when it comes to this sense, but I believe I have a strong voice if I want to. In the future, I will definitely I want to grow more. I would love to have millions, and I'm working on it.
Okay.
I just it helps me a lot in anything. What I don't really enjoy is that people recognize me everywhere, or on the beach, or also in the cities. This is something I don't enjoy, but this is something that comes with it. But I'm always nice to everyone, and I always take photos. And it's okay when people are nice, but sometimes people are not nice, and then it's not so polite. Then it's not so it's not so nice.
Yeah, no, it's a weird connection because they feel like people feel because they watch something, they get to know you, but they have to recognize that they've never met you and to maintain professional, respectful kind of things. It only makes sense. It's for any influencer or any person who's out into the limelight a little bit. Like, that's a weird thing that happens to the brain, I think. But what's what's in store for this year for you? Is there anything exciting that you're looking forward to doing? Any kind of cool content trips that you have planned?
Well, I have stopped competing last year after winning the two world titles in wing foiling, because I've been competing for over 10 years in kiteboarding and wing foiling together, and I was a bit tired from traveling so much, and I was also a bit tired of of winning and of actually doing the competition. It was not a challenge for me anymore, and I've had a long thought over the whole summer last year, and it was also not easy to stop because this was my comfort zone to travel around competitions.
That's very true.
And I wanted to focus more on content creation and become an ambassador for water sport and bring the sport closer to many people out there. And I have some cool trip plan, but I also have some cool business ideas that I want to work on, which I don't want to talk about yet.
That's fair.
Stay tuned on my social media. I'm sure you're going to see that.
Oh, that's exciting. Okay. How does it feel then just being out of competition so far? Because it just started back up. Is it a good feeling to kind of take on this next chapter in your sport life?
I mean, I really did love competing, and it was part of my life for many, many years, and I enjoyed it. And, I always do things what I enjoy and I like to do, because I believe if I follow this path, I will always be successful. So one day, I guess I woke up and I was like, okay, well, this is not what I want to do. I want to do something else. I need a bigger challenge in my life. I'm still young, and your life is so short. We need to experience so many things in life to make it worth it. So I said I stop, and I need to do other things. So, yeah, I'm excited, and I'm excited for my next chapter now. And it's so far I've been traveling around the world. People have been inviting me to promote places and to do coaching weeks in different parts of the world. And I do love that. And I do love to create content and promote people's businesses. And this is making actually more money than competition. So, especially with my following.
True.
So I just follow my path and do what I love, and I believe that this is the way to go.
That's a positive framework for life. That's cool. How, like, when you're going through your competitions and you obviously did extremely well, was there anything that you felt would help you overcome obstacles of fear or work on mindset? Because there's so much that goes into competing and staying motivated. Is there anything out there that you think people would like to or should know if they're afraid to get into it? How is it that you keep yourself positive and motivated?
Well, I always have a goal in my head that I try to reach, and it's not gonna happen tomorrow. You always have to work hard towards your dreams, and it's a huge. You need to make a lot of steps to make it happen. When I was competing and I was number 1 in wing foiling, and in kiteboarding, I was also number 3 or 4 almost all my career. I had to dedicate my entire year to that goal, to be number 1 in wing foil, and I did nothing else, just that. I was training, I was preparing mentally for my heat to stay calm, even if I crash, even if 90% of the heat goes wrong, you need to stay calm to perform your best. And I perform my best when I'm happy and I actually don't compete. So I always try to get into the zone of my normal session and be happy and enjoy what I'm doing because I love it. And that's what made me win always. Just to forget about the competitor. Actually, I never used to watch my competitors. I was just in my own world.
Because that's a big feat. Like that deserves congratulations. That's massive to be first in two different disciplines, like two different sports, sorry. And like that's huge. Like yeah, congratulations for that. Yeah, and then having the strength and the courage to decide to pursue the next thing that brings you that joy and passion, right? Like instead of holding on to something and it might not be perfect, like that's another point that's really cool that we could get out there to people on that positive side of things. So yeah, that's cool.
Thank you. Yeah, I always try to follow my heart, and I always want to be happy. So I'm working on my dreams this way.
So it's possible. It's possible, folks. Definitely. So how do you
Everything
like
is possible.
how do you like working with duotone?
I've been with duotone since the beginning of my journey. Before duotone, we were named North, and they have brought me to their team when I was 15 or 16. I started with like back then it was North, so duotone Czech Republic, and then when I got my first podiums in kiteboarding, I got into the international team, and I was very lucky and happy that I could independent myself from my parents and go to chase my career in kiteboarding and become a professional athlete, because that was my dream since I started kiteboarding, and I made it. So I'm very, very much grateful to Jotun that they've been there with me my whole career through kiteboarding and wing foiling, and they're still with me now when I decided to stop competing and I decided to go my path and kind of influence as many people possible out there to get into those water sports that I'm doing. And I hope that I'm still doing well. And I hope I will be an ambassador for many years to come.
Yeah, no, that's a good thing and a good way of presenting that information out there. What do you think like wind sports bring to you the most that we could highlight to people? Is like, what do you think? Because it's a tool for you to then bring into your life and help you become better at different things. So are there any points that are highlighted that would have, like, imagine you had just been an accountant. Could you foresee your life being any different, and the things or the feelings or the emotions that you wouldn't have felt that way?
I still am. I'm always thinking and working in my head and thinking about ideas and stuff I want to do. Back in the day, I was just training for, I need to learn this trick, and I was trying to understand how to do that. I was working with coaches or somebody filming me to kind of know what I'm doing wrong. But what I use wind sport now for, and actually my whole life, is that I disconnect out there, and my mind is so free. I don't think about anything else out there. When I'm having a bad session, of course, I'm thinking about something else, but it's also the reason why I'm having the bad session, because I don't manage to get into the flow state that I should be in. But if everything is great, I get into this state where when I come out of the water, I'm so relieved and I'm so chilled, and then I'm so much more motivated to do other things and to work on something different, because I'm just cleared. It's like meditation. I called wing foiling when I go there. It's my meditation. I don't really meditate, but I meditate when I'm on the water.
Yeah, it's like what do they call it? It's like a walking or a standing or an active form of meditation. Definitely. It's just because it's so peaceful. I don't think I've connected with the sport other than potentially it's very, very similar to like backcountry snowboarding or backcountry skiing, where it's so soft. But the fact that it's so quiet, I think that's the main thing that we would try to promote and let people know, is the fact that it is incredibly peaceful and you can bring that into your life. But yeah, no, that's cool. Is there anything else that you'd want to touch on that you would feel people would like to know, or maybe your best trick of all time? What was your favorite trick in wing foiling and kiting?
In kiteboarding, it was probably a heart attack. It's like a front roll rotation, S-bend rotation with a handle pass. And then in wing foiling, it's definitely a backflip, which I don't do so often now, but now I'm going back to Cabarete in 2 days and I'm motivated to do more. And I actually, what I would call my biggest trick in wing foiling is just getting out in the big waves, because that's much better, bigger challenge for me than just jumping. It's just crazy the feeling you get while entering or riding big waves. I love it. And what I can say about foiling sports, and now as well, I'm e-foiling and I've been a kite foiler before. I don't really kite foil anymore because I get more freedom when I'm wing foiling, but I just love the feeling of foiling, and I always try to motivate people around me that it's just so peaceful. And so once you get over those first 2 weeks of struggle, you will love it and you will get hooked and you will not want to do anything else anymore, because it's amazing. It's healthy. You can do it in light wind, you can do it in strong wind, you can do it in choppy waters, you can do it in rivers, from boat. The access is so much more easier than when kiteboarding. Yeah, my favorite sport.
Have you had any good sessions lately?
Yeah, like this year is El Nino year, which means that the weather all around the world is a little bit weird. And I actually been traveling the first 3 months of the year on different places. And then now I've been 3 weeks in DR, and I had like 7 days out of 3 week wind, which was not really, or maybe 9 days out of those 20 days, which was not really normal, because normally it's windy every day. So I decided to go home for a week to visit my family, and we had a lot of rain and no wind days. So now I hope that May is normally a good month, so should be fine and should be okay. Cabarete normally gets bigger waves from let's say January till May. So May should be still some good swell if the swell arrives. So I can't wait. I'm flying in on Wednesday.
Oh, sweet. Nice. Watching the forecast every other day?
Yes, I'm watching the forecast, but so far it's still raining. So
okay,
fingers crossed.
Okay, fingers crossed for you. What's your favorite wave riding setup on wing and then board and foil and stuff like that?
Well, currently my favorite board is a 35-liter a duotone Skywing. Sorry. My favorite setup is the 35-liter from Duotone. And it's the prone foil board, but as I'm not so heavy, I like to use that one because it turns so good in the waist. It's like a toy. And then I ride the Duotone Collab Mass, and on my favorite front wing is a 650 cars.
Oh, awesome. How do you find riding something that small? I haven't gone to sinkers yet.
I love it.
Yeah?
I have two setups. I have two setups that I use the most. It's 850 and 650. It's the D-Lat line. And it also has smaller backwinds than the previous years, which allows me to turn much faster. And it's just made from 2 pieces. So it's not 3 pieces, it's 2, which is much better for flowing in the waves. And why I ride such a small foil is because it turns better, and it also I can ride a bigger wave down much easier, because when I have a bigger front wing, it's really hard to push it down for me. And after so many years wing foiling, I have the technique to get up, so it's not so difficult to get up with a small foil. And what actually matters is the turns on the waves, and also it's faster. I go higher. Yeah, I think that's the perfect size for me now.
Okay. And you've gotten used to your 35-liter board. That's no problem now?
Yes, I use it most of my days. When it's like 12 knots or 13, 14 knots, I need to take a 45-liter, or just so I don't, it's still small, but I don't like big boards. So I would rather take a 45 on a light wind day. I would take a 45-liter and an 850 front wing. So I get up, and when it's over 15, 17 knots, I'm fine with my 35-liter, and I'm loving it.
All right. That's impressive. Definitely. Because that's a tiny little thing. Nice. How's your family visit going so far? It's nice to be over in that part of the world for a little while.
Yes, of course. I am very close to my family, so I tend to come every 2 months to visit them. I've been here last month, and I'm here again because the weather has not been good in DR. But now I'm planning to stay in DR for 2 months before coming back in the end of June here. And then I'll be here again in the beginning of July and coming back to Cabarete for the summer, where I am offering private lessons of all the sports. So if anyone is interested, hit me up.
Good to know. Good to know. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about today?
No, not really. Thanks so much for inviting me, and to everyone who's listening. If you are not a wing foiler yet, get into it, because it's going to change your life. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'll try to give you an answer or advice on how to get into wing foiling.
That's cool. Because I saw, how do you find giving lessons? Do you enjoy that aspect of helping other people get into the sport?
I do enjoy giving lessons because I gain experience over the years, especially because I was competing and I was trying to understand the sport, how it works. And I believe that I have a huge knowledge of how things should be done. And every time I give a lesson to someone, they're stoked. They're over the moon. They're like, oh my God, why I didn't know this for the past few years? You changed my life now. So it gives me, it's really nice to see people happy and motivated to go out there more and more and try more tricks after they hear a few tips from me.
I think our podcast team should come out for some wave lessons. I think that would be something we would need. I'm just starting to get into them now. It's so fun. But I think that would probably do us all some good.
Yes, for sure. And Cabarete is the perfect place to start and get in, because in spring and summer, the waves are not so big and they're perfect size for anyone getting into it. In winters, it might be a bit tricky. They're big, but yeah, it's a nice place. You're definitely welcome. Come visit me.
Good to know. Good to know. And well, everybody, want to say thanks for joining us today. And thanks, Paula, for taking time out of your day and time away from family to come and chat with us. It was great to get to know you a little bit better. And just honestly, congratulations on what you've done so far. It's impressive, but it's also cool to see what you're doing with it. I think that's something that should be noted. So yeah, congratulations on everything so far.
Thanks so much, and thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.